Welcome back, guys, to the Couch Scouts. I'm Sean here with Jimmy, and this week we got former Denver Bronco, potentially former Baltimore Raven, and Super Bowl champion Derek Wofle. Derek, we just had Wolfe on here over the weekend. Firstly, he's a big fan. He said you're a beast, and he wants you to come to Seattle. Pretty much, he was vouching for you to come to Seattle.
He said you got a spot on the Seahawks.
Yeah, you got a spot.
I mean, listen, brother, it's going to be the free agent, so I'm taking all offers. Taking all offers. I'm going to do what's best for me and my family, and obviously what's best financially. I'd love to be back in Baltimore, but sometimes things just don't work out, with cap space and this and that. And I thought I put a good season together, considering what kind of season we had to go through with the COVID, and bouncing back from a dislocated elbow like that, playing all 16 games, and 14 games. I missed a game because I had the sniffles, and they were worried about what
COVID.
And yeah, then I got a little concussion in practice, which I didn't think was a big deal, but they were extra cautious there, which I appreciate. I appreciate them looking out for our brain, but that was a great squad to be a part of. And unfortunately, when you have that many great players on one team, everybody needs to get paid. So not everybody can be there the next year. So we'll see what happens. They've expressed their interest and said that they want me back, but money talks, man.
I was going to say, what are you prioritizing in this free agency? Is it the team? Is it money? Is it, where you might want to live? Any of that?
Well, those things are all determining factors. Obviously, if somebody offers me a ridiculous amount of money, it's going to be hard to turn that down. But I also don't want to go to the team that's, not looking to win a Super Bowl or trying to Super Bowl. I'm not looking to go to a team that just wants to make it to the playoffs, hopefully make it to the playoffs. I'm looking for a team that's saying, hey, we want to go win a Super Bowl. And I'm not trying to be the highest paid guy, but I think that I know my value. And I think I proved that, I still got a lot of football left in the tank. I got a couple more years left in me. And, and then on top of that, my wife and daughter, I didn't see my stepdaughter for 6 months, throughout the, I went like 2 months stretches without seeing my 19, she's 19 months now, but when you got young kids, man, you want to be around your kids and your family. And that's a 4-hour flight. And if you don't have kids, you don't know what that's like to fly 4 hours by yourself on a plane.
Yeah.
Girl that, has got a ton of energy that just wants to run around and do and play. You can't really just expect her to sit down on a plane. And if they keep this mask mandate up, then she's gonna have to wear a mask, and that's not happening.
Yeah. No. I remember when you first got to Baltimore, we talked, and you were talking about the house you just got, and it was so big and everything, and you're like, yeah, but I'm here by myself for like 3 months before anybody can even come out here.
JP, the house was haunted.
Oh, God.
What do you mean?
Haunted.
Ghost haunted? Like
ghost haunted. There was a ghost. The landlady named him Ernie.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
What does it do? What was it, moving shit around your house?
Lights flickering. People, I thought somebody was upstairs walking around. I'm walking around the house with a gun, searching the house for people because I think there's someone in my house. And I called her. I think there's a raccoon or something in the attic. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And then she comes over and I was like, you hear that? And she's like, oh, that's just Ernie.
Oh, no. I'm out.
That's just, I was like, you know what? It doesn't feel like a negative energy or anything. So I'm just going to ride with it and let it go. And I just it was creepy, man. I'd be going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And I swear somebody was standing behind me.
What the?
It was a 10-foot house on 70 acres out in the middle of nowhere. So
no, I'm out.
Ernie was the ghost. That's amazing.
When she says Ernie, I'm out. When it's named and it's there and it lives there, no, I'm out.
Yeah, she said Ernie. I was like, who is Ernie? She's like, I don't know. I've been here since we built the place. And there was the house was built right next to a real, probably from the early 1800s, 1700s, the old foundation of the house that was there before. This house was built right next to that. So all that energy is still there, so.
You got to take Ernie with you now, wherever you go.
Oh, no.
Ernie can, because he was creeping me out for sure.
He can stay. He can stay.
Oh,
the temperature in the room would drop 20 degrees. Like I'd walk into a room, I'd have the heat on at like 70, and I'd walk into a room and it'd be 50 degrees in there, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, it was.
How did you explain that to Abby?
I just didn't really talk about it because she wouldn't. She was me if I told her there was a ghost. But then she hearing something upstairs. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
It's a raccoon. Yeah,
You need Ghostbusters there. Jesus.
I know. Murray to get over there and help us out.
Oh,
Right,
geez.
right. Oh, that's crazy.
So circling back a little bit, we were talking about like the money, the fit, the team, and everything. We talked about this a lot last year. I think we found out that you were like the 53rd, I think, average paid interior D lineman in the league, and like that's not gonna cut it. Like
No.
like you said, you're not trying to be the highest paid, but you want to be paid your worth. Like, you
Right.
don't want to play for nothing.
Well, I mean, it's not nothing. You know what I mean? And it's that's the hard part about talking about this because, you know, most people are like, oh, well, you know, $3 million is a ton of money, but people don't realize what you put your body through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I just show up on Sunday and play a football game. You know what I mean? The work that goes into getting ready for a season, the work that like just the mental side of it, just to mentally get ready for a football season and go through a football season. You know, when you're playing, you know, if you're playing at a high level, you deserve to get paid what the other guys are getting paid. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, if it's just like any job, right? If you go to work, you know, whoever's work, if you got a 9 to 5, you're doing the same job. You're doing the same exact job as the guy next to you, and he's making 3 times, 4 times what you are.
Yeah.
Something's off there, right? You know, so it's like, you know, when I'm doing just as well as the guy that's making 10, 15 million a year, then it's like, hey, I should be around that. I should be in that area, in those talks, that kind of money, you know, like at least 9, you know, at least 8, you know, something like that. But, you know, 3 million and I had 3 million in incentives, and, you know, taking an incentive deal, going onto a new team and not knowing your role yet. You know, I had a sack incentive of 6 sacks, and, you know, I just really wasn't putting the opportunity. I didn't really have the opportunity to go get 6 sacks. You know, I mean, I wasn't put in those positions. We weren't, like, as a defensive lineman on that defense, you know, we blitz a lot. So you're doing a lot of things to, like, you know, ensure that somebody else can get a sack. So, you know, those incentives are kind of like, you might as well throw them out the door. That money's not even reachable. So it's like one of those things that, you know, I need as much guaranteed money as I possibly can. This is going to be my last deal probably. So it's like, you know, I want to maximize that, you know, because there's no other time in my life where I'm going to be able to earn that kind of money. You know, I might be, you never know what's down the road, but, like, you know, to be able to earn 8-10 million a year in 1 year and 6 months of work, you know, it's a great blessing, and it takes a lot of hard work to get there. But, you know, I need that same kind of money to make it worth being away from my family.
Do you think negotiating is almost like there's like too many politics involved? Like I was listening to Arian Foster talk about how he had to play through like a separated shoulder for 3 years because in the negotiations they would have pointed out that he was injury prone because, like, he got hurt. Like, do you feel like I mean, you obviously don't deal with it, probably your agent deals with more of it, but I just feel like there's some sort of politics that always go into this stuff.
Listen, the GM's job is the GMs act like it's their money that they're giving you.
Yeah.
That's how they act. They act like they're giving it to you right out of their pocket. So, like, it's almost like they find any little thing, like, oh, his age, oh, he's had this injury, that injury. It's like, yeah, I play defensive line and I play physical. So, like, you're going to get injured sometimes. Things happen. But I play through a lot of things. So it's like, I don't want to hear that because I see guys sitting out for, you know, minor injuries. And I'm like, listen, I play through stuff like that all the time. It's not a big deal. You know, so it's like, you know, unless it's a freak injury, I'm going to play through it. And I'm going to try to play at a high level.
The elbow injury.
Yeah. Like, I dislocated my elbow, man. Like, it was on a dead play. It was my own teammate. Like, I was having the best season of my life. Like, I was having a career year. And then, you know, in the 12th game, I dislocated my elbow. You know, if it wasn't for that, you know, who knows what, you know, I probably would have got a long-term deal somewhere.
That play was so weird too, because I remember it, and it should have never happened. They should have been blown dead. Friendly fire, and like you said, it might have cost you, who knows, maybe three more sacks. Maybe you could have got like a 2-3 year deal somewhere, more money. So
yeah, we're talking people don't realize we're talking about the difference between $3 million and like $15 million.
That's
like
crazy.
That out here.
That's why I always tell, like, we'll always have people that comment on stuff. This person's being greedy. They'd take that much money. I'm like, dude, get as much money as you can, like, guaranteed. Like, look at Dak, franchise tag. Who knows what's going to happen now after he blew out his ankle.
Exactly.
Justin for the Broncos playing on franchise tag. I'm like, man, I hate the tag. That's a whole different thing, but I hate the tag. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean it's a great, like, it's a great tool for, like, to use for, like, for a guy that maybe just had one good season, but when you got guys that are putting season after season after season together and you're just still, like, unwilling to pay them, you know, it just frustrates me because it shows that, like, you're not committed to keeping that guy around. You know, it's like somebody doesn't really believe in him and doesn't believe in that guy as a player. They think that they're just a system guy or, you know, something like that. But that's not, like, Justin Simmons, that's not the case with him. This guy's like the ultimate pro, you know? Like, this,
Yeah.
You for a better teammate. You couldn't ask for a better leader on a defense. Like, that's the kind of guy you want long-term to be on your defense to create culture. And
I don't even think he's missed a snap since 2017. Is always, like, the Walter Payton Man of the Year for the team. Like, and you just want to slap franchise tags on those guys. I don't get it.
it's because there's a game inside the game, right? Like, there's the cap space, and, like, they're always trying to, like, be the GM of the year, make sure that, we this much money, you know, they're always trying to look for a deal, trying to get somebody on a deal. And you know, I made that mistake. You know, financially, a financial mistake going into my contract the first time. After my fourth, going into playoffs on my fourth season, the year we won the Super Bowl. I didn't take the first deal they threw at me, but I took the first, like, they reached the number that I wanted to reach. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll take that deal, because you never know what, like I said, you never know what can happen, man. Like, a dead play, the refs could not blow the whistle and your own guy can run into you and dislocate your elbow.
Yeah.
And then your season's done. And then you're not getting any money. So a bird in the hand, right?
I remember that year too, because remember, JP, that was the year Malik Jackson got an insane contract for the Jaguars. And I remember
40 years.
Right.
Years to make 37. So it was like, you know, I obviously could have got a much better deal. My agents were kind of like, hey, maybe we should wait till free agency, this and that. And I was like, yeah, but what if?
Because you signed during the season, didn't you?
I signed right before the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Chris did too. I think that was the year Chris did.
No, he did the year before.
Okay.
Chris Harris talking about, right?
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening is, like, you know, I was like, okay, if I take a little bit less money, then that means everybody else we can keep this defense together. And that wasn't the case, man. Everybody was like, you know what? I'm going to get mine. And I was like, I get it, you know, but this sucks because quarterback, you know, like, we still had a great defense for years, but it was like, you know, when you go get a Super Bowl and then you're not competing again anymore, like, go 4 years not competing for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was polar opposites, man. It sucks the fun out of the game when you're not really competing to win. And you know that the organization is, like, rebuilding and, you know, trying to figure things out. And it's just like,
do you feel like they're rebuilding after Peyton left? Like, I feel like they didn't know what they were doing at quarterback for a few years there.
Well, there just wasn't, like, there really wasn't a contingency plan. It was like, let's win a Super Bowl and then we'll figure out the rest later.
When that happens, then we'll worry about what happens after. It was like, we really didn't have a backup situation. You know, we had Brock, and then Brock obviously went and got his money.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, I don't think they were expecting Brock to have that kind of market, you know? Yeah, because I think that Elway believed in Brock and thought that Brock could be, the guy for a couple of years. And I think that they planned on us trying to keep that team together, and it just didn't work out. You know, and a lot of money. Von Miller tied up a lot of money in the cap, and that, like, that kind of, like, scared him away from, like, paying anybody else. And when you give you have the Super Bowl MVP, you have to pay him. There's no other option.
Yeah,
he won the Super Bowl MVP. Like, you have to pay that guy. You have to pay him top value. So it's like, it's kind of like a blessing and a curse at the same time. You know, it's like he deserves that kind of money, but you know, as far as the team goes, we had no quarterback. You know,
yeah, it was Trevor Siemian. Actually, I like Trevor too. But
Trev held it down for a little bit, but
he did a good job, man, for what he was dealt. You know, he had different offensive coordinators and different head coaches, and it was just you know, it was a rough 4 years, but like I'm forever indebted to this city. You know, they showed me so much love, and I still live here in Denver because, you know, this is my home now. When you spend almost a decade somewhere, you know, you get pretty comfortable there, and you get comfortable with the people in the area. So, you know, this is my home. And, you know, I was sad to have to go. I really was. I really did think that they were going to try to bring me back. But, you know, they didn't even make an offer. They didn't even try to bring me back. They were like, bye, you know.
I still can't believe that.
Wow. I was listening to one of your former teammates actually the other day. He was on a podcast and he was telling a story about his rookie season. He was kind of like beating people up in rookie training camp. And then when like all the veterans came in, that you and a few other your teammates told them like, listen, if you don't stop, we're gonna beat the shit out of you.
Who was
Dalton Reisner?
Oh, I love that kid. That guy's an animal, man. He's gonna be a great player for years. But yeah, he was beating everybody. Like we were watching the rookie minicamp tape. I was watching it, and he was just dogging people. And I was like, all right, we're gonna have to get this dude. We're gonna have to get him. It's just one of the take care of your teammates on the field, you know. So like, he's just like, he doesn't know any better at that time, you know what I mean? So we had to teach him real quick that you don't finish me over piles and do all that other stuff, man. Just don't be holding onto my jersey. Let me run to the ball. That's just one of those. When you come into the league, you have to learn how to practice like a pro. Because like getting somebody hurt in practice is like the worst thing that can happen. Yeah. So you have to like, you practice hard and you compete, but like there's the time to pull up and there's the time to, you know, you have to just pull. You have to know like you don't finish the play all the way through. You know what I mean? You save that for the game, and that's where like being a pro comes in. You know, because in college, in high school and college, they teach you like every snap, play it like it's your last. Like even in practice. And I used to be that way too. You know, when I came in the league, I was, you know, going way too hard in practice. And, you know, you can still practice hard and still be smart. You know, it's just like anything, man. You don't want to, you know, blow your load. And, you know, on Wednesday's practice, ready for Sunday. But he's a great kid, man. We got after him.
You say you guys cornered him in the locker room. He was like, "Oh shit, I'm in trouble."
You try that shit with me, we're fighting.
That's awesome. All right, so we've covered a lot of time in Denver and everything. Switch over to Baltimore mode. I was kind of happy this year because I feel like, did you ever feel like you were overlooked in Denver because, you know, you got Vaughn, you got D Ware, they get a high draft pick, they take Bradley Chubb, you know, it's all these high tier, high profile names. And, you know, you were kind of doing the dirty work. You're the interior guy. But this year in Baltimore, you know, you watch a lot of the games and they're recognizing you. They're calling you out, saying how great you're doing, how monstrous against the run you are. And it felt like you got a lot more coverage this year than previous years in Denver.
Yeah, I think I got more appreciation. And I would say they appreciated me a little bit more than what I was in Denver. You know, I think that the fans in Denver appreciated me. But as far as the organization went, you know, I don't think I was as appreciated as, you know, as like a Vaughn, you know, obviously, you know, it's a Super Bowl MVP. You know, it's hard to compete with that.
Yep.
You got D Ware, who's you know, you got these Hall of Famers all over the place. So it's like you do kind of get overlooked every now and then. But, you know, it wasn't really like what happened was that, you know, Calais ended up getting injured. Andy had COVID. So like I had to take on the workload. Brandon Williams goes down. So next thing I know, it's me and two rookies out there playing every snap for like 6 weeks straight. And I was like, you know what, man, I just got to like, this is my opportunity and I got to take advantage of it and show them that I still got it. And I had it was a ton of fun, you know, being able to like step back into that leadership role and, you know, and kind of like take things over for a while. But, you know, on the flip side of that, when everybody comes back, you know, you kind of have to like, you have to know your role on a football team, man. Like, Calais is a Hall of Fame player with great leadership skills, and he's a great dude. So like whenever they come back, you have to kind of step back again and let them take back over their leadership role because, that's just the way it goes, man. It's a pecking order, and obviously, Calais is making $15 million. I'm making $3 million, so obviously he's going to be the guy. So I was just like, I don't know. I just took advantage of that opportunity, man, and I just went out there and tried to ball out every snap and tried to take on that Raven mentality, where it's like, there's a certain type of football that is expected to be played when you play for the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm about that life. So about that, I was like, I think I said before one game, I was like, man, these guys are fake tough guys on this other team. I forget who we were playing, but I was like, these guys are all fake tough guys. I was like, they act like they're tough, but they're not. So I had to go back to the Dark Knight Rises and pull the Bang quote. I was like, these guys are, they think darkness is their friend. I was born in the dark.
I love it. Such a great quote.
I was born in the darkness, and they were like, that fired everybody up. I don't know if they knew I was quoting Batman, but like I come from the darkness, man. Like I was ready for that, and I grew up watching Baltimore football, and I grew up right next to Pittsburgh, and watching them in Pittsburgh battle it out all the time, and I just was always a big fan of the way they played defense. And so it was like a childhood dream getting to play on that team. So I would love to go back there, but like I said, man, it's free agency, it's a business, and I got to do what's best for me.
Speaking of Baltimore, one of the highlights this year was Lamar and the whole Poopgate allegations that went down. What was going through your head? Because on TV, this was wild, absolutely insane.
TV
they show him run into the locker room. No one has any idea what's going on. You see him run out. There's reports that he had to go to the bathroom. No one knows what's going on. On the field, what are you thinking? Where'd he go? What was? It was like a movie, honestly.
Well, it was. You got to remember that was our third game in 12 days. In that game, third game in 12 days, and that was like the COVID stretch, right, where a third of our entire building had COVID. So we're out there with scout team guys, and so it was just tough, man. And we had some guys back, but they weren't all the way healthy. So that he was doing Lamar was doing everything he could to help games. So obviously he's taking wear and tear. So his calf was cramping up. I remember seeing him talking about. I remember grabbing on his calf on the sideline, and the next thing I know, he's not even in the game. And I'm like, where is Lamar? Where is he at? We gotta win this game. Where is he at?
Yeah,
cramping or something. And then next thing you know, we're on the way. We're on our way home from Cleveland. And he was pooping during this, and he was like, I was not pooping. I was not taking.
Oh man, TV was wild though, man, because he just disappears, nothing, no sign, nothing, and all of us. It looks like a bad WWE return, when they cut the camera to the tunnel and here comes Lamar running out of the tunnel.
I swear, I never thought the NFL was scripted until then. I was like, what is this?
And it was like watching a reality show. Man, it was insane.
Yeah. It was funny. Everyone, oh man, he had to defend himself on Twitter that whole entire night that he didn't have to go poop. He actually hurt his hamstring. Yeah, his hamstring he was actually cramping up. He went back there to get checked out. He was not back there. I don't know, man. So the funny thing is I had to leave the Houston game for I made a tackle, right? Ran over, made a tackle on a screenplay. And it was a third down. I ran off the field and ran straight to the locker room because I had to poop so bad. So it happens. You sometimes and it's a pain in the ass, man. I got tape all over my hands and fingers. I got gloves on. I can't take my gloves off. So I'm not excuse me, but I'm not trying to get shit all. You just wrap with the paper and. Well, you can use it to your advantage. So you come back out, you got a little poop on your hand. You put that on the offensive lineman. He ain't feeling too good.
Oh no.
That's filthy.
So nasty.
Oh man. That's just wrong. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. I'm calling that.
Maybe ejection.
Ejection? Imagine the ref was ejection on this guy, poop on his hands is illegal.
I'd like to see the call. I'd like to hear the call. I'd love to see him flip the radio on and be like, it just lose it.
I wonder if you get fined. I don't know, for rubbing poop on something.
Is it like Stickum? You can't use Stickum.
Stop it. It's not. It's Stinkum. Stop it. Oh, no.
Stickum. Can't rub it on your hands.
Ugh.
Nasty.
That is disgusting. It'd be too funny.
I never envisioned us going there, but hey, here we are.
Sometimes guys got to take a shit during a game. It happens.
It's funny. Mar had some bad Taco Bell before the game. That's what went down. That's the story I'm sticking to.
Oh man, could you imagine eating Taco Bell before a football game? What it would do to you?
I hope no one does that.
I wouldn't even make it a quarter. I couldn't.
I would. I mean, I can't remember the last time I had Taco Bell, but I know that last time I did, it was not good.
It never is. Never is.
It's probably a drunk night, random drunk night.
Yeah,
Probably.
That's what it was good for, a drunken Taco Bell run.
2 a.m.
Exactly. That's when the line's always the longest. 2 a.m.
Get a cheese crunch. Get some cheesy burritos.
Exactly.
And that's probably when you come back and hop on Warzone too.
Oh yeah, come back and hop on Warzone. I'm actually ready for some Warzone. So JP, I hope you're ready to get a dub tonight because I need one bad.
I think Meta's on. We could try it.
All right, it's time. It's time. I need a dub.
It's been a long time.
Speaking of video games, Jimmy and I always joke about how you have like one of the worst characters in Madden. Like they couldn't be
Oh my
more
God,
off
it's
on you
horrible.
between your face. No tattoos, which is funny because I read they actually have to get the tattoo artist has to agree for the artwork to be in the game. You should talk to EA. Be like, listen, I'll get my artist so I can have tattoos. At least I have something that I look like.
Well, my right arm, he's not even alive anymore.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, okay.
He's passed away. So it's like, how are they going to get that?
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
They go to his wife and his kids or whatever.
Maybe,
I don't know.
or if somebody took over the shop, maybe. I don't know.
Listen, a wolf doesn't concern himself with the opinions of sheep, and I could give a shit what rating I get. Like it makes me crazy watching people get mad about a rating, but realistically, like the people are getting like famous off of Madden, like just because they're good on Madden. So,
Yeah.
like, people,
Oh, yeah.
like, if people like to play with them on Madden, they're famous. I don't know. There's a lot of things that are screwed up with this league. Like how like it's unfair. It's an unfair advantage when it comes to fantasy, right? As far as like being like when it comes to fame and like opportunities to make money off the field, because when these fantasy league players, you get to be an individual player in fantasy football.
Yeah.
I just get to be part of a defense. Like that's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Well,
Absolutely.
they are switching to individual defensive players in fantasy. Like, so there are leagues where you can get one player on your defense.
Yeah. Well, that's bullshit.
You probably wouldn't score much based on how they do it anyway. So
Well, it's always it's the guys who get all the tackles.
Do they realize it is? Do they realize how hard it is when 350-pound dudes are trying to move you out of the way, and then Derek Henry, who's 250 pounds, 6'3", comes flying through a hole, and then you gotta tackle him and not get knocked backwards. Do they realize how difficult that is? Like that should be like the point. Like split a double team and made a tackle for no gain. That should be how the point system works in fantasy, but that should be like
if you tackle Derrick Henry, you should get like 20 points anyway.
I mean, it should be max points, right?
But
like
it's funny. We talked to Stanford Route and we asked them this question: well, who's harder to tackle, Lamar or Derrick Henry? You play against Lamar every week in practice. Who do you think is harder to tackle?
I mean, I never tackled Lamar, but I'm not sure. I mean, here's the thing. I played against Derrick Henry twice this year, and this dude is a horse. Like he is a freaking horse, man. Like he comes downhill and tries to run you over. And but to me, the hardest tackle in my career was probably Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, okay.
This was an animal. Like he wanted to punish you for even showing up. Like you better come correct when you tackle him. My rookie year, that was my welcome to the NFL moment. Preseason game, Jack Del Rio left me out there for like 19 plays. I don't know. It was probably like 6 plays, but it felt like 1,000. Dying. And I go to rip off a block, and the guy's like hanging on my jersey, and Marshawn just like like a freaking like a Longhorn Ram, dude. Just like, oh, bow, hits me right in the chin. My helmet flies off. My helmet flies off. Like, it's all up in my nose is bleeding. My ears are ringing. I'm like, dude, and I'm like, did I tackle him? Is he on the or is he still running?
Did he go down?
And he did. He went down, but I was like, okay, I got to take a different approach. I can't just be throwing my head in there. I got to bring everything when you tackle these NFL running backs, man. They're not, they're trying to, like they got a job too, man. They get paid too. So, and then you got these offensive linemen. They're all cheaters anyways. So
they're all cheaters.
They hold at every play.
They hold every play. It's up to the ref if the ref decides he's going to call it or not. Like, I don't know. Bullshit comes.
Is there any offensive lineman you can single out who cheats more than others? Wait, who?
It's in their blood. They all cheat.
Oh.
They all do. They're all looking for a little way to hold you a little bit, cheat. Like, I'll tell you who cheated me the worst ever, and he's a good friend of mine, Jason Kelsey. This dude, I lived with this dude. Bro, I beat him, and I'm going to run. I'm going to make the tackle in the backfield. He tackles me by the back of my legs.
Oh, God.
The back. And I'm like, look, I'm like, somebody, it must be my own teammate actually fell on me. No, it's Jason back there, and he's just laughing.
Please tell me he's just like holding on like this, just looking at you.
Dude, he did. He just tackled me by my back of my legs, and I looked at the ref, and he's just like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. A ref told me, I got held so bad one time this year. I looked at the ref, and he goes, "I'm not allowed to call it anymore." I'm like, what? What is happening? What is happening? You're not allowed to call it anymore? Like, you can't call, like, it's a penalty's a penalty. Like a blatant holding call that costs, like, bro, that's taking money right out of my pocket.
What is like the head official? Like, listen, you can't call the holdings anymore. We need to get this game going. Like, what does that even mean?
Who knows, man? They probably got those earpieces on, man. New York's probably tied in there telling them, like, oh, all right, now like, we're going to call pass interference, or we're going to call PI, offensive pass interference, or holding, or if he even sniffs the quarterback, call it. It's like, how are they deciding, like, when they're going to call this stuff? It's like, I watched Matt Judon get tackled by his neck this year a couple times, and they just weren't calling it, man. I don't know.
God.
So I just pulled this up real quick. Last year, 2019, 724 offensive holding penalties. This year, 2020, 462.
50% decrease, huh?
Jeez.
So I wonder. I mean, listen, there's guys in this league that they're literally graded. All right, let me give you an example. I can't, because I don't want to throw anybody on the bus.
Yeah.
But you got players that, like, literally, like, it changed their life because they weren't calling holding this year. Changed their life, like, made them.
I can think of someone. I can think of one player.
Changed their whole life, like, turned it all the way around for them.
Yeah.
And good for them. Good for them, man. They make the rules. We just got to play inside of them, right? Like, whatever, man. I want to see everybody get paid, so good on them. But it's still some bullshit that they're like, I can't land on the quarterback, but this guy can literally molest me, and it's no.
The whole body weight thing is one of the stupidest rules, aside from like the touchback through the end zone thing. I hate that, but you can't even land on a quarterback anymore. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb. I'm done even talking about it because it's so stupid. It's such bullshit. Like, it goes right up there along the lines of, like, not being able to line up over the long snapper. Like, yeah. What shit is that? You're going to call a penalty because my shoulder pads were, like that much breaking the plane of his shoulder pads? Like,
it had such a big impact on the play.
Nothing against long snappers, but, like, really? Like, if I was them, I would be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed that there's a penalty if somebody lines up and their shoulder pads are breaking the plane of my shoulder pads. That's such garbage. But whatever, man. It's just fucking dumb.
We'll never win with the penalties. We'll never win.
They're just going to keep getting worse. Next thing you know, it'll be flag football.
I've been saying for years it's going to happen. Like, eventually we're going to see flag football. It's going to get that bad.
Brady's going to be 65 collecting Social Security.
Speaking of 65-year-olds, one of your famous quotes, Philip Rivers retired this year, and your quote was posted all along the internet after he retired that you're going to eat his kids. So I got to ask, like, how
did you realize how many he had?
Yeah, did you realize how many he had? Well, that's more than a Thanksgiving dinner. Probably were killing all the Charger fans right there too if you had done that.
I mean, so obviously Phil loves to talk shit. Like he's always talking shit. He never cusses, and it's like shut up, dude. Like just shut up. Right? And I love to compete against the guy because it's fun. But something happened. I almost got him for a sack, and I got held and drugged to the ground. So I'm yelling at the ref, and he calls me. He's like, "Shut up, crybaby." And I said some others. I don't know. I was watching too many Mike Tyson videos, anyways. And I was young. I was 25. Grabbed him by his shirt, and I was like, "Look, man, I'll eat all of your children." I'm cussing and obviously spitting everywhere and snot coming out of my nose. And he, I had a friend that was on that team, and after the game, he called me. He's like, "Hey, man, what's wrong with you?" And I was Phil asked me what was wrong with you because you said something about eating his kids or something. And well, then next thing you know, TJ Ward's on ESPN saying I told Tom Brady that. So now I got all the freaking New England fans.
I remember that. I remember the Brady thing.
And say it to Tom Brady. I didn't even say that to him. And now that I have kids, I shouldn't have even said anything like that. But whatever, man. It's all a game. I'm just trying to intimidate him and get his. And honestly, he's never talked shit to me ever since.
I wouldn't either if you said that to me.
He's never heard you. When I try to be friendly with him, he still looks at me weird. What's wrong with you?
He's scarred. He has no idea what's happening next.
I don't know, but he's. Like I said, man, great player. Congrats on a great career. I wish he would have been able to get a Super Bowl because if one guy deserved one, it was him.
That's funny.
I love watching his trash talk videos. His nice trash talk videos. It's so funny.
Yeah, because he doesn't curse either.
He gets under your skin. I believe it's so funny. I just laugh at him. Now because it is funny, and him and the DBs going at it is the funniest. Him and Chris Harris Jr. have gone at it. The shit that they say to each other is hilarious.
Well, you had a couple other things you want to touch on, Sean, right before we send them out.
The only other thing I was going to ask you is if you were in a fight, who's one player you'd want to have your back? One guy that's just the meanest, toughest.
Doesn't
guy.
have to be a teammate. Anyone.
Yeah. Anybody. Man, I'll tell you what, I played with some dogs. I'll tell you what, man. Brandon Williams is one guy that you want on your side.
Brandon Williams, okay.
Brandon Williams, big baby. This dude is and he's a beast, man. Athletic beast. Calais Campbell. I play with so many dogs, man. Aqib Talib is one of those guys where he's not getting
Talib, yeah.
Yeah.
Aqib, TJ Ward. TJ's one of those guys. He's not going to ask questions. If there's a fight and it's his boy, he's not asking questions. He's in it. That's just I bet I play with so many good players, so many dogs that I can't really single out one guy that I would want. But there's a couple of them that you would definitely want in your squad. And TJ, Aqib, Big Baby, Calais Campbell. This guy's a giant. There's not a lot of guys in the league that make me feel like a small guy. I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. This dude is 6'9", 320.
Oh, God. He can play basketball.
I remember telling you, Sean, when I was talking to Derek, and he's like, dude, he will not stop telling me how big this dude Calais is.
It blew my mind. I was like, bro, how is he moving like that? He is a giant. It's just, I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy to watch him move around, too, because he moves around like he's 250, 260 pounds. He's 34. He's 14 years in the league. He's still moving around good.
It's funny you say Talib because we asked him about the Harry Douglas fight when he literally went to beat the shit out of him on the field. That was a wild moment.
That's what I love that guy, man. Aqib is one of the best teammates I've ever had, honestly. There's some Yeah, there's some there's not a lot of offensive linemen that I could think of that, you know, that were just like a guy like Larry Allen, right? Never played with the guy, but like Larry Allen, that's the kind of guy you don't want to mess with, right? Like you just don't want to mess with a guy like Larry Allen. Like you see Larry Allen, you don't want to fight that guy. It's because
if I had to pick one O lineman right now, probably Quentin Nelson, because you just see him flattening guys.
Yeah, this dude's a beast. He's a beast, man. He's a good player. You know, you got to bring it when you play against him because he tries to finish you every time, man. He tries to land on you and elbow drop you, and you know, he's just a giant dude. He's a big, wide offensive guard that just mauls people. You know, there's a Louis Vasquez when in his prime.
Vasquez. Yeah.
Louis was a beast. Big DJ Fluker, he's a monster too. Yeah, he's a road grader. Tyron Smith from Dallas, that's a monster. You know, there's these offensive linemen, dude. You get some of these offensive linemen, they're just freaks of nature, man. They're like 6'8", you know, 340 pounds, 350 pounds, running a 4'8", 4'9", athletic as hell. Like, you don't want to have
crazy
to fight
nowadays. So coming up here, we're gonna have Darius Butler on and talk to Darius Butler too. And he was on some of the WWE stuff with Pat McAfee when he went to NXT. And we're going to talk about who we think can cut some of the best promos NFL player-wise. And you were going to be one of the people I named. I feel like you could cut a nice promo.
Dude, I would be so good at this. I like being a villain, like WWE villain. I'd be so good at it. But I don't know, man. Like the new age where you have to like really watch what you say and
that's true. Yeah,
like I'd have a really hard time not offending people because like I don't know. You
get into it.
Once I get into it, man, the filter's gone. Like there's no filter. I'm just gonna say whatever I want to say.
I've seen the Call of Duty matches.
Oh yeah, it doesn't even have to. It doesn't even make any sense. The shit I'm saying. I'm just saying random. Try to get in somebody's head, you know, and it's, you know, I don't know. I grew up on Stone Cold Steve Austin and in The Rock, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah, it's way different nowadays.
It's way different. Like this when Stone Cold and Booker T were in the grocery store. That is
the milk. I can't. The milk. The one thing that sticks out, just the milk.
Dude, dump on him, like so great, man. It was just like epic. So I don't know, man. I feel like I would be really good at it. I feel like I could probably get under some people's skin and, you know, I mean, I could do backflips and stuff. So I'm like top rope kind of guy.
Ooh.
Okay.
Get up there and wonton bomb somebody.
I was going to say swanton bomb, a little Jeff Hardy action.
A little Jeff Hardy. You know what I mean? Hit somebody with the Rakishi.
Oh, no.
Rikishi, no.
Oh, no.
What about a Brock Lesnar shooting star press?
Dude, he almost killed himself. I remember that.
Dude.
This dude went to do the backflip off the top rope and like barely missed his neck. Like he barely got his head turned. I thought he was done.
It's pretty. I mean, those guys do some pretty cool stuff. Like I know that it's scripted out and everything, but like it's still pretty impressive.
Some of those guys are cool to watch. It's fun.
Yeah, cool to watch the kind of stuff that they do, man. It'd be fun. We know we've talked about that, but like I don't know.
Well, we're into the UFC now. We always talk about the UFC fights.
Yeah, fighting. You know, I actually. You know, I train UFC. Striking is like one of my favorite things to do off-season training wise. I usually do it once a week. And, you know, my striking coach is always like, hey man, like I was a wrestler, so I have a wrestling background. I still do a little jiu-jitsu. So like, as far as fighting goes, every striking coach that I've ever had is always like, hey, if you ever want to fight, let me know. So this off-season, I was like, you know, I wasn't getting any good offers. I was about to just be like, you know what, man, I'm just going to go fight. Forget it. Because I was going to the gym like 3 times a week and striking and rolling around and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, man, maybe I'll fight. Then I started thinking, I was like, you know what, man, like I don't really want to get kicked in the head.
Yeah, who does? Who does?
Like, I don't want to, like, I don't want that to happen. Cause like, I don't want this series, like, I've done enough to my brain. You know, I've been playing this game, full contact football, since I was 7 years old. I mean, I don't really want to get kicked in the head. I just don't. Elbowed, choked out. Like, it's not like it's not like going in there and hitting mitts or just sparring with a on, man. Like, this guy's trying to kill you. So, like,
Greg Hardy made the transition, right? He did it.
The funny thing is, he actually did pretty damn good to start too. Really.
Yeah. And he's doing a good job. Like, obviously, you're gonna have like, you know, your hiccups at the beginning, you know, because it's a new transition into a new sport, you know, and it's a whole different style of training. Like, you're training for 5-minute rounds. Like that, I don't know if people realize how difficult that is to be able to go 5 minutes straight, and you don't really get to relax in there because a boxing match where it's like, okay, he's just throwing punches at me. This guy might jump off the cage and try to kick you in the face.
You gotta worry about everything.
Like, you might fall to the ground and wake and like turn, like you wait. Next thing you know, you wake up and you lost. Like, that's just like you never know what's going to happen, man. These guys are so skilled. When and jiu-jitsu is like you spend a lot. Like, it takes 12 years to get a Brazilian black belt. You know what I mean? So, you know, if you're like not very skilled and you get on the ground with somebody that is a black belt, like it's probably going to be over for you because the strength doesn't matter. It's just a chess match down there. And those guys, like, you're always worrying about the next move. But like I love fighting. Like, I love the culture of the fighters. Like, I love that. I love the idea of like training for one, like, imagine just training for like 3 months for one football game, right? Yeah. Like, that would be awesome. You know what I mean? Just train for one game, you know, train for one fight. And then, you know, what ends up happening is you got to fight 3-4 times a year, you know, while you're coming up through the ranks. And it's like, man, I don't really want to have to start over. So I think that I'll leave that, you know, every time. So, you know how it is. If you're with a group of friends, right? You watch a fight. Everybody's like, oh man, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kicked in the head, man. I'm telling you, get kicked. It'll change. I'll tell you when it changed my whole thought process on this. Is I was down in Florida with the Black Zillions. And I was working with Alistair Overeem, and he was like, he asked me to pummel with him and just keep him against the cage. So I'm like keeping him against the cage, drop into like a single leg and trying to take him down. I dropped to the single one time and he kneed me in the head accident. Like, he didn't even really mean to. He kneed me in the head, and I was like, oh hell no, I'm good, man. Like, I'm not doing this shit anymore.
Sean, I know you really don't follow it, but Alistair Overeem, you don't want to mess with him. Like, I remember he probably had one of the most hyped debuts ever. Like, I was pumped for it. That's a dude you don't want to mess with.
And then let me think of some other guys that, you know, I've been around a ton of fighters, man, and those guys, I got a ton of respect for those guys because, you know, Cerrone's a good friend of mine, Cowboy Cerrone.
Oh, Cowboy, yeah.
Like, he's just, bro, his mentality, like, their mentality is just so much different.
He's never gonna stop fighting.
I mean, why would he? They're going to keep paying you. You're going to keep fighting. Why not?
I mean, your brain might disagree eventually.
Right. I don't know how they did. I mean, just like the constant getting punched in the face, like, because it's just like football, right? Like, you're not just like working out and running on a treadmill and then show up to a fight, hit mitts, and then show up to a fight, right?
Yeah.
No, you are in boxing, like, you're fighting your teammates leading into that. So, like, you're beating yourself up leading into that. So, like, you're getting hit in the head. You're taking shots to the, you know, your kidneys and your liver and your ribs, and you're getting kicked in the quads and the thighs and stuff. Like, you're just like constantly getting your ass beat. You know, it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know how they do it for like such a long career. Just the mentality, just the mental part of it. To like mentally be like that killer mentality to like want to go out there and really kill somebody, because that's what you have to think. Like, I'm trying to kill this guy. Like, that's just the mentality you have to go into that cage with. I'm assuming
you almost have to have a built up anger, like to get to that point. I feel like I need to really be mad.
For a football game, like everything's out the window, man. Like, I'm ready. I'm here to like fuck people up. Like, I'm not out here to be friends with anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out here to fuck people up. Like, I'm out here to make plays, tackle people, manhandle somebody. And that, like, imagine just like for like months, you're training to fight this one guy. And the kind of hate that you would build up for this guy. And like, I mean, to me, like the fact that they they can shake hands and be friends afterwards, like, is impressive to me. Because I have a hard time shaking hands with the other team after the game, even when we win. Because I've conditioned myself all week to hate this guy. So,
so 4 months of hating a guy, and then you got to shake his hand, especially if he wins. If he knocks you out, I don't know how they do it.
Oh, thank you, now, buddy. Just embarrassed me in front of everybody.
Yeah, in front of millions. Damn.
Was there anything you want to plug, Wolfe, before we let you go? Anything you want people to check out or whatever?
I'd like for people to check out my foundation, the Wolfpack Foundation. I just donated $500,000 of my own money, $500,000 of my own money to school. Then my adopted brother, he's basically my brother. I call him my brother. We're family. We're not blood, obviously, but he looked out for me a lot, and he donated $500,000 as well. We got a brand new field built for him, and we're in the process of building a brand new, like a state-of-the-art field house with a brand new weight room and meeting rooms and an indoor field. And it's going to be state-of-the-art, man. It's the average income in my hometown is like $15,000 a year. So there's a lot of poverty and just a bunch of poor white kids, really. So we're just trying to bring some more diversity to the area, bring some awareness to the area, and just help the community out. Bring some pride to that community. And it's not just football, man. It's every sport there is, and we're just trying to create opportunities for kids to get out, man. Keep these kids. Heroin is a huge problem, as you know, up there in the Northeast. It's just a terrible problem.
Yeah,
it's ravaging communities, and I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost like 5 or 6 close friends to heroin, since high school. So it's like, if even one kid gets an opportunity to go to college and get an education, or, one girl that plays soccer gets the opportunity to get out of there, and then she can pay it forward, or he can pay it forward. And that's how you build a culture, man. Like, you just make it so people want to come back to that community. But right now, it's one of those kind of communities where people just want to leave and never come back. So, I'm trying to create a different kind of culture. And, I do a lot of stuff with veterans as well. Underprivileged kids, really, really want to look out for the kids, that's really important to me. That's a soft spot for me, because if it wasn't for football, who knows where I'd be? I'd probably be in prison.
Jeez.
To be honest, I probably would be. I was wild. I was doing stupid shit, going to McDonald's, beating people up, and getting in fights all the time. And I just thought I always had to fight. So I always had to fight for what I had, and fighting for pride, fighting for if somebody said something to me that I didn't like, I was fighting. And it's just like, what am I doing here? So thank God I had football. If I didn't have football to teach me any kind of, I'd had no structure. I would have had zero structure in my life. I really truly believe that I'd be in prison. And people are always like, well, you're a smart guy. You would have made it out. I'm like, listen, everything that I did in my life, I only did it because I wanted to keep playing football. Like, I went against every instinct that I had. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have a father. I don't know who my father is. My mother, she had her own battles that she had to deal with. She wasn't around. I was taking care of myself, dealing with things on my own. So, if there's any other kids that are going through that kind of thing, I want them to have an opportunity, have a great football program that they can go play football. And, even if they don't get a scholarship, it teaches them structure, and teaches them to take care of things, and teaches them to, to love who they love themselves, really, because it all starts with self-love, teach them how to love themselves, and, do something bigger than themselves, do something for the team. And I think that there's just a lot of lessons when it comes to that, life lessons that come with team sports that, any sport. It could be basketball, football, wrestling. I wrestled as well. Wrestling is the hardest sport there is, man. It teaches you a lot about yourself. So, the wrestling program, I want them to have, the sports complex is completely wrestling now. And now we're going to have all the other sports will be in this big complex, and wrestling will have their own area. And, it's just going to be something special for the community. And, if people can go check that out, Wolfpack Foundation. And, you know what I mean? Just check it out.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
No, that's awesome that you did that. That's amazing, really, the amount. So we'll definitely
plug that,
tag you and have people check it out. That's awesome.
Yeah. Derek, thank you.
When we got new Def Food gear coming?
You know what, man? DefBlue's like it's kind of on hold right now because my best friend Brent was running the show, running the orders, running all that stuff. But I mean, like, I can't expect somebody who has a job. Like, he has a job. He has 2 kids and a wife. Like, he's got his own life to worry about, man. He doesn't have time for this. Yep. So it's, we made a bad decision when we went like a different direction with it. It kind of took a dump, and then, we lost all the money that we made from it. We didn't really lose it, but like, we didn't make any money from it because we were trying to invest that money back into the company, and we had to change everything. So right now we're just on hold until I can find somebody to help me run it. So I'm just trying to find somebody to help me take it over, and then we'll start it back up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We'll grab some more of that gear whenever that does come. Like I said, Wolf, I'm gonna get you this poster out to you sometime soon. Gotta find somewhere to ship it. We'll get it out to you. Appreciate you stopping by, like always. We'll
of course.
You want anything last from you, Sean? Or are you good?
No, I appreciate you coming on here, Derek. This was awesome. It's always fun to talk with athletes, and everyone, make sure you check out your foundation.
Appreciate. JP, you ready to get a dub or what?
I'm ready to try.
Right. I'm logging right now.
Perfect.
All right, we'll get it.